Hi guys and welcome back. This is part 4 of my C++ for game development series, and in this part we'll be taking a look at operators. And if you guys have any questions or suggestions, make sure you guys do leave those down in my Discord server, and if you guys do wish to support me, link to my Patreon is down in the video description. Now, operators in C++ are pretty simple. So basically they are the symbols which perform an operation on operands, and the meaning of this is pretty straightforward. So let's say you have a plus b. So plus is going to be the symbol which is the operator in this case, and it is going to perform the operation of addition. And depending on how many operands a given operator operates on, it can be classified into unary, binary and ternary operators. So basically, if you have one operand, you're going to call the operator as unary operator. I mean, the classification isn't really much of a concern, but it's important to know the various operators that you will use. So these are the commonly used unary operators. So first you have plus plus, and by the name of C++ itself, you guys would have a fairly basic idea of the fact that it comes from C along with plus plus. It basically denotes that it is an increment over C. So let's say we have C plus plus. So let's say we have a variable C and we type in C plus plus. Now what that means is basically you're incrementing the value of C by 1. That's basically what it means. Similarly, you have decrement to decrease the value by 1, and size of is going to give you the size of a given data type or variable. So in the parentheses, if you pass in, let's say for example int, you're going to get 4 as the answer, stuff like that. And exclamation mark is going to be logical not. Now these are the commonly used binary operators. Again, it's best understood with examples. I'm just brushing through them, and obviously this presentation will be linked down in the video description. So if you guys do want a simple reference, you can go ahead and download it. So addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, these should be fairly straightforward. And logical AND is performed using two ampersands. We'll see it through programming examples once again. And two pipe symbols, the one which is above your enter key. So two pipe symbols performs logical OR. So that's about it for the commonly used binary operators. Let's head into Visual Studio. Alright guys, so now we are inside Visual Studio and we have some fairly basic stuff set up. Now we know how to use the assignment operator. Now this equals single equals is actually an operator in itself. So it basically takes in two operands, so the left hand value and the right hand side value. So both of these could be variables. You can't have a constant on the left hand side, but you can have a constant on the right hand side. Now let's do something where we actually go ahead and change the value of var using the operators. So let's say we wanted our var to contain, let's say for example var plus 1. Let's say we wanted one more than that. Now we have unsigned long, so our value restriction won't be a problem. So we'll just clear out this print and clean things up a bit. Now if I just go ahead and run this, you should get 65,535 as your output. So just give it a second. Oops. You should get 65,535. Now let's say I add in another statement next to this. Var equals var plus 1. And if I were to go ahead and run a debugger now, as you see, you get 65,536. And remember we had talked about the unary operator plus plus. So you could do this. Now this in itself is going to work. So if I do var equals var plus plus, this is going to work. However, remember I told you guys this is a unary operator. You don't actually need to explicitly assign it. Var plus plus would automatically imply var equals var plus 1. So as you can see, we still get 65,536. You could do the same with decrement as well. That's going to work. And know that this need not come after the variable. This could as well come before the variable. There is a small difference between these two. Now, although the result is the same, there is a small difference. Let's say you put this over here instead of having it as a separate statement. Let's say you print it out over here. Now you are going to get 65,534. But let's say we have var minus minus, that is negative after var. Now if you were to notice, we'll still get 65,535. Now does that mean var did not get changed? No, it does not mean that. It basically means the value of var was returned to cout first and then the value was decremented. So now if I just add in another cout, so I'll just copy this over to the next line, and if I were to just print out var, you would see that it prints 65,535 and 65,534. So that's just one thing you needed to know about that. Now what about your logical and logical or operator? So let's just create a boolean variable. Since we haven't gone into if conditions yet, we'll go ahead and create a boolean variable. So for that you type in bool b equals, let's say, true, for example. Or we need not initialize this to any value, we can set it up later. And we'll just ignore it for now. And we'll just print out b. Now let's perform logical not. So let's say we initialize b to false. So we just set an initial value of it. So b equals false. And we can type in b equals not of b. And if I were to go ahead and run the program, you would see we get 1. 1 basically denotes true. So 0 is going to be false and any non-zero value is going to be true basically. So as you can see, our logical not operator works. If I actually put 2 nots over here, as you would see, you get 0 once again. So not basically acts as a way to complement your value. Now not of b works, and you can actually do something like this. Let's say we want b or true. Oops, b or true. Now this is going to return true. The reason is we are performing the logical or operation. So if either one of these values are true, it is going to return true. Now similarly, if I just perform logical and, it's going to return false, since one of our operands is false. Now this need not be manually set to true. Of course you can have bool b comma c equals true, for example, and over here you can have c instead. So stuff like this is going to work. So if I perform or again, this is going to work as you would expect. And that's about it for operators. You can go ahead and experiment them with yourself, and addition and stuff is pretty straightforward. That's the reason I didn't really go over them. Like I just showed you guys an example, but that's basically how it works. But one thing to note about division is, let's say I have int b equals 10, and if I do b equals b by 3, for example, now as you can see, it's not perfectly divisible. If I just go ahead and print it, you would notice that we get 3. That is, the value got truncated. So it's going to take only the actual integer value of the number, and you could get access to the remainder using the mod operator. So let's say, for example, we wanted the remainder. So I'll just reuse this variable for now. You would type in b%d. Basically this is the mod operator which is going to give you the remainder. So b by 3 is 1. This in itself isn't going to be that useful. Most of the times when you actually set up stuff, you would usually typecast it to a float. So basically you'll want the decimal value to stay, is what I mean to say. Anyways, we'll have a look at practical examples a bit later on in the series. So that's it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. If you guys did enjoy the video, make sure you guys do leave a thumbs up, and make sure you guys do subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and make sure you hit the bell icon so you won't miss any future videos.